Hello history fans and welcome back. Today I want to talk about some Viking women, both real and supernatural or mythology. Now I don't really know anything about the Vikings, but the next edition of the Little Historians magazine is the Vikings versus the Saxons, so I had to do a bit of research anyway, so I thought I'd give you guys a quick, short, basic roundup of some Viking women. So don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz, and let's get going. So the Victorians have a lot of historical misconceptions to answer for, like Roman tear bottles. They're not a thing, they're perfume bottles, or sometimes even wine or beer in graves. Anyway, the Victorian era started the belief that Viking women behaved the same as those in the 1800s, following the same societal expectations, but it's not true. The Viking women didn't stay home, they didn't behave like Victorian women. You didn't have to be a man to be a Viking warrior, just strong, able and ambitious. There's lots of grave evidence of these female warriors, and also Norse literature that shows women and female deities as strong, fierce warriors, not just men. Of course, a lot of Viking women did still stay home, but there's no strict rules like the Victorians like to believe. Many Viking women ran the farms and did the carpentry work, and they had to be able to defend themselves in case something happened while their men were away fighting. That also explains why we find women in roles of power and influential women. As their men were away the majority of the time, women had to lead whoever was left at home, and they had to make those decisions. Some were even merchants and brewers, and compared to other Middle Ages societies, Viking women were able to do a lot more than others. For example, apart from arranged legal or political marriages, they could actually choose their husband, and they had some autonomy. Scandinavian women mostly chose who they married, and they could get divorces too, which is epic compared to women in other societies at the time. Archaeology has also revealed these warrior women to us. In 1880 a tomb was discovered, and it was a Viking burial of a skeleton surrounded by weapons, which in 2017 was proved to be a woman, so she was definitely important and definitely a warrior. The Shield Maidens, or the Skaldmols, were the most famous female warriors from the sagas, who fought alongside the men. Probably the most famous one is Lagertha. She is important in the sagas, featuring in Saxo's Gesta or Gesta Danorum. But also she's in the TV show Vikings, and that actually portrays her quite well apparently. She is the wife of the hero Ragnar Lothbrok. Saxo tells us Ragnar goes to Norway to avenge the death of his grandfather, and many women dress as men to help him fight. Ragnar then attributes the victory to Lagertha and wants to marry her. They have 2 children together, despite her guarding her house for the bear and dog to avoid marrying him in the first place. But obviously he kills the bear and dog and they get married anyway. Saxo's Grammaticus chapter 4 references her as well. It tells us in a warrior scene, among them was Lagertha, a skilled female warrior who, though a maiden, had the courage of a man and fought in front of the bravest with her hair loose over her shoulders. All marvelled at her matchless deeds, for her locks flying down her back betrayed that she was a woman. Herva is another heroine who we have a lot more information on. She's the main character in the 13th century saga Hervara Saga Oke Hithrex, where Herva and Hithrex go on a quest for her father's magic sword. When they reach the burial, she summons her father's spirit, who wants her to give up the quest, but she refuses and takes the sword, which is called Terfin, which causes disaster then for her, her son and granddaughter. And Herva also dies in battle. A Valkyrie is the name for female deities known as choosers of the slain. They're the warrior women of the supernatural world who took the men off the battlefield, and they took half to Odin's Valhalla and the other half to Freya's Great Hall, so 2 afterlives for warriors. The Valkyrie Brynhild ends up mortal, imprisoned in a castle surrounded by fire, after supporting the wrong hero in Odin's contest. She's rescued eventually, but there's a huge muddle-up that's a bit like a Shakespeare farce, and she ends up swearing revenge on a lot of people and jumps into the flames of a funeral pyre to die with the man she wanted, where they can spend the afterlife in hell together. Skarthi is the Norse giant goddess of winter and hunting. She avenges her father, the giant Tharsi, when he's killed by Thor. She's possibly the mother of Freya and Freya as well. Freya is the goddess of love, fertility, the afterlife and protection, or her part of the afterlife. She resides over one of the 5 places in the afterlife. Foul Favour, which is Field of the People, where half the fallen soldiers go. The other half go to Odin's place. Frigg, the wife of Odin, was the original goddess of fertility and was the greatest goddess of the Norse pantheon, which is the equivalent of Hera in the Greek pantheon. She's also the goddess of marriage and motherhood, and she gives prophecies. And lastly, Hel was the queen of the afterlife realm with the same name. Her name, meaning hidden, refers to all the dead and buried in her realm. She's usually depicted as half a beautiful woman and half a decaying corpse. And it is questioned if she actually existed in Norse mythology, like pre-Christianity, as at that point there's no lengthy written works. It's also thought that her first reference isn't until a 13th century writing. Regardless, Hel's realm was for those who died of sickness or old age, whereas warriors who died fighting went to Odin or Freya. So I guess she is needed in Norse mythology, otherwise where would the other people go? Anyway, so let me know in the comments if you think she existed or not, or if she's another modern Viking creation. That's all I've got for you today though. If you like Viking women and you'd like a bit more of a detailed video, let me know and I'm sure I can do that. But for now, this is the very, very basic few Viking women for you. I don't feel like I gave you details on like any of them. Maybe I need to do a better video in the future. What do you think? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, even if it was really basic. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye!